Unlocking potential, one dream at a time, on the CJ Moneyway Show.
Sit back and relax. You're listening to the Moneyway Show.
A lot of these young cats are too young to remember when you used to have to go to the library and look through the card catalog, the Dewey Decimal System, and the microfiche, and you could spend a whole hour just trying to find books and sources.
Exactly.
And now everything's at your fingertips, and you want to use it for foolishness sometimes rather than the best things you could use it for.
Welcome, my good people. Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show. And I'm with your host, CJ Moneyway. Let's get it.
What's up, my good people? This your boy, CJ Moneyway. Welcome to the Moneyway Show. Today, I got extinguished young gentleman on the podcast today, Eugene Williams, educator, 27 years experience in his field, high school principal, booker, author of 6 published books, childhood actor that we want to get into. And I also want him to share, too, his experiences of being on stage with the likes of Stephanie Mills, Ray Charles, Bill Cosby, and the list goes on. Hey, welcome to the show, Eugene, man. How you doing?
Thank you, CJ, for having me. I appreciate this time. And that's nice of you to call me a young man. I'm 54 years old. I ain't been young in a minute, but I'll take that.
Hey, I'm 50, man, so hey, we still young at heart, man. We still young at heart.
I'm going to try to be.
So how you doing today, man?
I can't complain about a single thing. I'm here, you know. One of the things I often tell, I told my young people that I worked with, because I just recently retired. I'm recently retired high school principal, retired in June of 23, so I just left.
Oh, congratulations.
What I used to tell the kids all the time was, you know, you got to be grateful because you woke up, you don't like going to school, but somebody out there wants to go to school and can't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you woke up this morning. Some people didn't wake up today.
Amen.
You brushed your teeth on your own. You tied your shoes on your own. There's a whole bunch of things we take for granted that we get upset about. And a lot of people take very seriously because they couldn't do them. So my thing has always been be grateful in the little things because they add up. And, you know, you're here. That in and of itself is a blessing.
Yeah, you know, I do. I'm with you on that. It's the small things that matters. You know, as we say, he who is faithful over little things, you know what I'm saying, will acquire much. And so sometimes we're not appreciative of the things that we do have, like having a roof over our head, complaining about gas prices, but we're able to go to work every day, you know, and things of that nature. So, you know, so I agree with you on that. So, what's been some things recently that you've had going on in your life that you expected, and some things that you probably didn't expect that just came out of nowhere?
Well, one of the things that I'm working on now that I'm not in a school building every day, I have a website, EugeneWilliamsJr.com, and my goal is to go around the country and do a professional development for parents, for teachers, for students even.
Mm-hmm.
Things about vocabulary development, talking about that, the importance of how a strong vocabulary can increase your writing and your reading skills, talking about ways that teachers can work better with certain types of students to have more achievement in the classroom, trying to encourage parents and teachers of African-American male students, giving them strategies to create scholars in their own homes that can not only do well athletically, because that's a big thing, but also do well academically, and to be the type of smart, talented, good-hearted, well-meaning men that we need in our community, along with all the other talents that they have. So those are the things that I'm expecting to happen and that are happening already, and I always have been doing that for years. So that's one thing. Things I didn't expect to happen, let's see. In this recent journey that I have met so many fantastic people, made new friends, made new acquaintances, like this one today.
Yeah, okay.
And so, you know, that's the exciting thing that's happening, that now that I'm in a second phase of life and second phase of career, the types of people that I'm meeting throughout the country on a day-to-day basis that have some of the same positive goals that I have for African-American males, young males in general, and for our nation as a whole. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
You're listening to the CJ Moneyway Show with my man CJ Moneyway. Tune in every other Friday to one of the hottest podcasts in the Midwest, where you can hear exciting episodes and up-and-coming artists like myself, even inspiring authors, entrepreneurs, and the everyday man and woman, right here on the CJ Moneyway Show.
That's good. Like you say, trying to educate, men and women, especially the men. I never forget my father when I was coming up, he would say, like, if you playing sports, because we all dream about playing sports and making it to the NBA or the NFL or, baseball, but you only got so many players on the team. 12 on the basketball team, 53 on the football team, baseball, got a lot. But everybody's not going to make it. You can go to the league. It's a lot of things. I mean, like with that being said, before I go, but what he told me was, Eugene, was that they could take a lot of things from you, even, what we was talking about offline. But one thing they can't take from you, and this is something that I want you brothers to understand and know too, and I believe Eugene is trying to push this message, is that they can't take what you put up here.
No, they can't.
They can take everything else.
Take away your education.
They can't take away this. He used to always tell me that. And, as we was talking about sports and things of that nature, it goes hand in hand. Athletic, the athletics and the schooling. So when I was coming up, I'm going to be straight honest with you, I was only on one end. Athletic, but I didn't want to do schoolwork. And so guess what? That affected me playing, and then when you get them, if you're good enough, certain teams will let you play even though you have fell in grade. But I had a mother and father, definitely my father, he wasn't going.
And as a principal, I didn't go for that. And as a coach, I didn't go for that.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, here's what I tell kids all the time. There are more doctors, lawyers, and engineers in America than there are NBA and NFL players. Mm. So you have the odds are better to be one of those than to play in the NBA or the NFL. Mm-hmm. That's why you have to prepare yourself academically, as well as physically, as well as emotionally, as well as spiritually. But you have to go to school with the focus of trying to do better and trying to learn and trying to grow. And we know that there are a lot of things that get in the way of that, based upon life situations and how things are going for you personally. We understand that. I always understood that. As a former student myself, as a parent, as a teacher, I get all of those things. Mm-hmm. But when you have an opportunity to get up under people who really want to see your best, who really have your best interest at heart, embrace those people. Don't push those people away. When you see opportunities that are being given to you to grow and do better, do everything you can to get around those people and get around those programs, because they are out there. Mm-hmm. And just like you can find trouble to get into, you can also find good things to get into. Even the hood has libraries. And now you don't even need a library anymore. We're walking around with this thing in our hand. Mm-hmm. Yes, we can use it for the TikTok. Yes, we can use it for the social media. But we also can use it for the Google and looking up facts and looking up ideas and books on computer and all of these things that we can use it for. We have more tools now for our advancement than we've ever had in the history of mankind. It's just a matter of what we choose to use them for. Yeah, are we going to use them for mindless entertainment, or are we going to use them to grow the mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you said that, because me and a friend of mine, we was just talking about that the other night, as I was coming in the house from work. We was just talking about that because we was talking about different things, as far as what we're trying to do. And so I was telling him, I say, man, whatever you trying to do, just research it and get into it, and get as much knowledge and wealth as you can. I'm like, and just what you said, I'm like, man, we got phones that we can look up and Google up anything that we want to find out nowadays, and like you said, like he said too, he say, back in the day, like our grandfathers and our fathers, they had to go to this little small library that had all these books in there to go try to find what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have to do that no more. We don't, like you say, it's right there. It's right in our hands every day. A wealth of knowledge for us to advance, to do what you want to do, but it's all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset, Eugene.
Well, a lot of these young cats out here are too young to remember when you used to have to go to the library and look through the card catalog, the Dewey Decimal System, and the microfiche, and you could spend a whole hour just trying to find books and sources.
Exactly.
And now everything's at your fingertips, and you want to use it for foolishness sometimes rather than for what you could, the best things you could use it for. You know
I totally agree with you. And speaking on the educational part, so what was the educational process like from you, to go from college, high school? What made you want to be an educator?
Well, first of all, it's in my blood.
Mm-hmm.
My late parents were both educators.
Oh, okay.
My late father, Dr. Eugene Williams Sr., was one of 9 children born in rural Orange, Virginia. They were poor, but they didn't know they were poor, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
He worked as a houseboy, as a butler for the white headmaster of the local white private school when he was coming up.
Mm.
He saved his money and used that money to go to St. Paul's College and get his bachelor's degree.
Mm.
Then from St. Paul's College, he went to the University of Virginia. I was one of the first African Americans to get a master's degree in education from the University of Virginia.
Okay.
Then he got his doctorate degree in secondary education from the University of Miami.
Mm.
That's where he met my mom, who at that time was studying for her master's degree in American Studies at the University of Miami.
Okay.
And she grew up in the part of people that are from Miami-Dade County who remember a place called Liberty City.
Mm-hmm. Heard of it.
She grew up in that area. And she then, she did very well in school. She went to Florida A&M University for her bachelor's and got her master's from the University of Miami. Now, once they got into education as a career, they went even further. My father was a teacher for a short time. My father, at one point in his career, was the dean of Sojourner Douglas College. He was a professor at Howard University for a few years.
Mm.
He was the director of test score improvement for D.C. Public Schools for several years. My mother, at one time, aside from being a teacher, she was the regional language arts coordinator for all of Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
Okay.
And back in 2008, I love talking about my mom and dad because they're my heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2008, my mom ran for mayor of Miami-Dade County.
Wow.
Now, she did not win.
Okay.
Here's the crazy part about this. This goes back to our point about you can do what you want to do, and if you focus on. So she had a $500 campaign account because she was retired by this point
mm-hmm.
and was on a fixed income. So she had a $500 campaign budget. The incumbent mayor had $1 million campaign budget. Do you know my mother still got 40% of the vote? Got 40% of the vote?
Wow, that's a big difference in money too.
40% of the vote.
Wow.
And so it's just really crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
And know that with that type of, if you put the energy forth and you have commitment and people know your heart's in the right place, it's amazing some of the things that you can accomplish, especially if you're dedicated to something. Now, my mother had spent a lot of time. They knew my mother from after her career was over in education. She spent time in the school board meetings. So she was well known in the community as the person that would speak out and defend the kids and be a spokesman for the kids, especially in underserved neighborhoods.
Okay.
And so that was how she kind of gained her popularity, which helped her propel her to run for mayor of Miami-Dade County. But long story short, those were the role models that I had.
Okay.
And so education was going to be something that was going to be part of my life, regardless of whatever career I chose.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I started out as a high school teacher in Prince George's County, Maryland. And then I taught in charter schools in Washington, D.C. for a while. Then I taught for many years in Virginia, state of Virginia.
Okay.
And my goal was, so my parents, when I was young, I was in private schools. I went to predominantly white private schools.
Okay.
And what I noticed was, it wasn't that those kids were any smarter than the kids in the neighborhood where I lived. It's just that they had more access and opportunity to learn things and hear about things. Mm-hmm. And so my goal, I said, if I go into education, I'm going to try to make that the great equalizer. I'm going to take what I've learned as a student in terms of my experiences with folks from upper middle class background and give that experience and give that information, pour it into the kids that I work with, whether they be in rural areas, urban areas, underserved areas. That was my goal, to put people who normally don't win in positions to win. That's still my goal.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I see that I was reading something where it talks about that you were real big on trying to getting minorities in higher educational programs, so that they can visit colleges and go off to colleges and things of that nature. And so
that was a big program I had when I was working in Orange County, Virginia. I was blessed to work with a group of other black male educators, Walter Bryant and Jesse McGrew, and we were able to create a program that's based off of the model set forth by Dr. Donna Ford and Dr. Gilman Whiting at Vanderbilt University. We called it the Academic Scholars Institute. And our goal was to identify those African-American male students who were doing well in school. And we wanted to encourage them to enroll in the advanced placement classes, the honors classes, the dual enrollment classes, the classes that we really didn't see too many of us in. Mm-hmm. Because we knew that if we could get them in those classes, we would put them in a position to meet and exceed all of their academic goals post-high school. And we did that. I was in part of that program for about 7 years.
Oh, okay.
And over the course of that time, we had people that were we have a student that went to Harvard.
Wow.
Students that went to schools all throughout Virginia, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, several other colleges throughout the nation. And we even had the first black male valedictorian from Orange County High School came out of that group of young men that I worked with. So, and he was a wrestler. He was a wrestler that got a scholarship to go to Harvard for wrestling and academics.
Wow.
Plus he was the valedictorian. And so to see that type of growth in those young men, and this was not a huge area. This was a small rural area. Mm-hmm. And what we forget sometimes as African-American educators is we spend a lot of time working with students in the urban areas, as well we should, because a lot of those areas are underserved. But sometimes we forget about the small pockets of black folks in the rural, predominantly white schools. Mm-hmm. Who do they turn to?
Yeah.
Who are their role models? How are they get pushed and encouraged to do better? Mm-hmm. So there's work to do in all school systems, in all demographics, wherever you are, when it comes to minority achievement. And I want to continue to make that a driving force throughout the country, because here's what we know about America. When people of color do well, when poor folks do well, when working class folks do well, everybody else does even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we should make that a priority at all times, I believe.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I'm, we thankful to have men that have a heart for the people, because as we know that a lot of, they say that our hearts have waxed cold. And to see people and for God to put you in a position to be, from your background with your mother and your father, to put you in a position to have a heart for people. Because a lot of times we have stuff or we get things in life that is just not necessarily for us.
Right.
He has given us abilities and talents and skills to help other people. And so, man, I appreciate you for continuing, helping people move, man. That Harvard story, I think that's great for somebody to get a scholarship in athletics and academics at Harvard. Oh, that's a great achievement. And it's not only, I know that they had to put in the work to do it, but to have somebody that's holding you accountable, and for somebody, just to believe in you that you can do all things, what I'm saying? Or you can do anything that's possible. All you need is somebody to believe in you and push you, even when you don't, you don't see it or feel it in yourself, man. So, big ups to you guys, man, for trying to change things, man, not just in your city or where you from, man, but worldwide, man. So that's big ups to you guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Getting off the subject a little bit. How did it feel when they asked you to be featured in Jet Magazine and the Black Excellent Magazine, man? how's that feeling like when you get that call and say, "Hey, Eugene Williams, we would like to feature you in our next magazine, a Jet magazine," because we, like you say, a lot of younger kids don't know nothing about Jet. You know, you had the Beauty of the Week, and that's what a lot of people got for.
What we used to read back in the day. Well, let me tell you how story came to pass. So, I was a child of educators, so that means I had no choice but to read at a young age. When you're around folks like Eugene Williams and Helen Barbary Williams, education is what's going to happen.
So it wasn't optional.
Even after they got divorced, they always managed to find a way to double team me and jump on me if my grades got bad. So yeah, that's who they were. But I was reading at a young age, and so my father's tax consultant came over, and he said, "Hey, Gene, I see your little boy can read. He's real young." He said, "I got a guy that works with me that's opened up an advertising agency. And he's looking for some clients to do some commercials, local commercials. You think your kid would want to do it?" And so my dad said, "Well, Junior, is that something you want to do?" And I was maybe 3, 4. So I said, "Yeah, TV. I love TV. Yeah, I'll do that, Dad."
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, a couple weeks later, I was in the studio eating some Utz potato chips, talking about how good Utz potato chips were. Yummy Utz potato chips. And shortly thereafter, I did my first commercial for Utz potato chips. I did it with and they couldn't find a girl to do it with me. So they said, "Do you have any little female friends around your neighborhood that you play with?" And I had a next door neighbor. I don't even know if she's still around. I would love to hear from her. Jill Brock. I said, "Yeah, Jill's my buddy." So they brought her on, and the first commercial, Utz potato chips, back in 1970, whatever, was Jill Brockett and Eugene Williams eating chips and running up the hill towards the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. And shortly after that, somebody got a hold of that commercial. My next commercial was a Sunbeam bread commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And right after that, my next commercial was a national commercial, Jell-O pudding with Bill Cosby.
That's where you met Bill at, huh? Jell-O Pops, okay.
If you see, this is before the Pops. This was actual pudding.
Okay.
And one of the first Jell-O pudding commercials, I was a little black boy, and I was sitting right next to Bill Cosby, and I was the one laughing his head off, acting all goofy. So glad to be around Bill Cosby at that point. So they did that. After that, I was the first purple grape in the Fruit of the Loom underwear back to school campaign.
Mm.
And then after that, I did commercials for Kentucky Fried Chicken, Scope Mouthwash, Epic Records, Johnson's Baby Powder. List goes on and on. I was the first black child in a recurring role on an old soap opera that a lot of the old heads and their grandmas might remember, called Search for Tomorrow, way back in the day.
Okay.
I was in movies. I did a movie called The A.G. Gaston Story, where I played A.G. Gaston. I worked with the great Ozzie Davis in a movie about the life of Benjamin Banneker called The Man Who Loved the Stars.
Okay.
I was a featured player in the movie The Tap Dance Kid. I was in the traveling company of the musical Shenandoah with the singer Bonnie Raitt, her father, John Raitt.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing a lot of things. Things were really hot for me at the time. In fact, before being featured in Ebony Magazine and Jet Magazine and Black Excellence, I met somebody that I didn't know was going to be as big as she was. And you realize that once you get older. One of my first television interviews, local television interviews, was on a show called People Are Talking.
Mm-hmm.
In Baltimore, Maryland. And I was interviewed by a young lady, gorgeous young African-American lady with a huge afro named Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey? Wow. I like you more and more, Eugene.
She was first starting out.
Wow.
And it was crazy because the private school I attended, I went to the same school as her partner on the show, Richard Scher, his son, and I went to the same private school, the McDonough School in Baltimore, Maryland.
Wow. Man, okay. You said that. How was it being around Ray Charles at the time at his height?
It was a dream come true for me because my role was to just be the MC. It was a night of music with Ray Charles and Stephanie Mills.
Stephanie Mills.
And it was a dream come true for me because I love Stephanie Mills from her work in The Wiz.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on Ray Charles's music all throughout my house.
Yeah.
On Saturday mornings, when you were cleaning up, my father's favorite song was Hit the Road, Jack.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more.
I got in trouble. I used to, Son, hit the road, Jack. that may go to your room. Don't you come back no more. But no, it was just a beautiful time.
Yeah.
And it was a time when it was that first push for African Americans in the media. So that was around the time, we had the shows like I Spy with Bill Cosby, shows like Julia with Diane Carroll. We had all of these local newscasts. You started seeing people like Max Robinson and Jim Vance and Ed Bradley being anchors on the news back in the 70s. So it was a really kind of a golden era in terms of Black people making positive moves in the media. That's the same time we had the shows. We had the Sanford and Sons and the Good Times, the Jeffersons of the world, and all that good stuff.
Okay, Richard Pryor, coming up in the 70s at that time. Okay.
Yeah, so it was an exciting time, and to be, first of all, let me just tell you how funny my life is sometimes. Bill Cosby has had his issues that have been well documented.
Yeah.
But as a person who's been in the commercial with the first Jello Pudding commercial, I'm forever connected with him.
Mm-hmm.
But guess who was on the cover of the Ebony magazine that I was featured in?
No other than Bill Cosby. No.
Guess who's on the cover? I'll give you two guesses.
Okay. Oprah?
No.
Richard Pryor?
No.
Okay.
It was 1976, and the person on the cover of the Ebony issue I was featured in was O.J. Simpson.
O.J.? O.J., the Buffalo Bills O.J.
The Buffalo Bills O.J.
Okay.
Bill O.J.
Number 32.
He was a beast on those gridirons.
Oh, yeah. I can't take nothing away from his playing skills now,
Right.
Yeah.
So, it was just it was a different world. Pardon the pun. It was a different time.
So I see what you're saying, like connection. Like you will always be connected to Bill Cosby because you was in the commercials with him. And it just so happened that in the magazine article that you were featured in, O.J. Simpson was on the front cover of it.
But you know what? The lesson that taught me was a valuable one. A lesson I kind of already knew, but it was confirmed for me later in life. And that is to always be humble and to always appreciate the blessings that you have while they're there, because you never know the twists and turns that life has for you.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, in 1970, you were on top of the hill. In 1990, they might not want to know your name anymore.
Yeah.
And so you always have to remain humble and know whose you are and who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll always be in good shape if that's the philosophy you keep first in the foremost of your mind, in the front of your mind.
Well, that goes back to like what we were talking about earlier about with the students and everything, that you can have talents to do this and that, but then sometimes those talents don't take you to where you got to go. But you kept this, and like you say, with the things that your mother, and father instilled in you, the educational part, they couldn't take that away, and that has propelled you to even greater heights than, maybe where where you at. Because sometimes we may want to do something, but it's not what we want to do. It's what he has sent us forth and had designed for us to do. And it's about finding your purpose, and when you begin walking in your purpose, then you have more fulfillment in life. Because, I was just telling my mother this the other day, because your purpose remains the same. The assignments change within the purpose. And you being a school teacher, because I brought that up. I said, it's just like, okay, I said social studies, but let's just say English, since you was an English teacher. English, you're going to come to class every day. But every week, you'll have a different assignment, but the purpose remains the same for you to perfect yourself and pass this English class. And I believe that's how life works too. Once you find your purpose, you always going to walk in your purpose, but there are going to be different assignments within the purpose. And I think sometimes in life we get that confused.
I love that way of thinking. That's absolutely true. That makes great sense. That makes sense to me.
So that's how I feel like, God kept you on the path, man. And sometimes it may not work out the way that we want it to work out, but it works out the way that he wants to work out.
It always works out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. That's it right there.
That's the key. Not the way you want it. I forget the quote, but I forget. I think it was Mike Tyson. Who said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, to get punched in the mouth. That's what he said. They get punched in the mouth. Yeah. So, man, to end this, we haven't talked about this, but before we go, do you have any more books coming out besides the 6 books that you already have published?
I'm working on some things right now, but like I said before, if you're all interested, I have a book called Grounded in the Word, which is a book where we take the 500 most commonly found SAT words and cross-reference them with the King James words in the King James Version of the Bible. So students out there can learn about the word while learning the meaning of words. I have a book for parents called It's a Reading Thing to Help Your Child Understand, which will help parents engage in strategies that will help their kids become excited about reading. I have a book of poems and short stories and social commentary called Reflections of a Confused Middle-Class Black Youth.
Okay.
And I have a novel that I wrote about, loosely based on my experiences as a member of a historically Black fraternity at a predominantly white college. And that book is called I Am the Darker Brother. So all of those books can be purchased on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those sites. Just look up Eugene Williams Jr. and a list of books that I've written will come out on there. And please visit my site, www.eugenewilliamsjr.com. You can also catch me at EUGWILLJR on Instagram, and catch me at Eugene Williams Jr. on TikTok. So I'm a lot of places.
Oh yeah, I know the feeling. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna go get that book where you're talking about the cross references with the words and then the Bible. I want to read that myself. Because that's a lot of people use that as an excuse why they don't read the Bible, because I can't. I don't know what they, thou, what I'm saying, ye is, whatever.
You better know the words of the Bible, because if you don't, you can go to church and the pastor could be telling you anything.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you know the words for yourself, so you actually know what the book is actually saying.
Hey, so just like you say, before I end that, and that's perfectly true, because it's just like you go to church on Sunday, you get the word, but through the rest of the week, you don't have no word, And so now I'm empty. So I'm empty until I go back next Sunday. Now, in life, you got to learn how to start eating for yourself. So if I don't have the word in me, how can I ever combat the enemy?
That's right. And you better be able to realize that, we always want the people that lead us in church to be people who believe in the word. But just like any other organization, people have agendas.
Yeah.
And the best way to make sure that you avoid those agendas is to read the word for yourself and know what the words in the word actually mean, so that you can make the proper decisions when it comes time to have that relationship with God on your own.
Oh, man. Hey, Eugene, man, it's been great having you on the show. Like I said, I wish you come back again whenever you do any more projects, man.
Anytime.
I told you I'm starting something new, probably starting in June or July, and I would love to have you on there, a podcast that's basically geared towards men, something that you're working on right now, as you said, as you're trying to travel around the world with your program, helping young males. And so, man, I'd like to get you on, man, to get your expertise and, pick your brains on that. And so, to my Moneyway listeners, Eugene Williams, hey, go check out his books. He left his social media sites. He left it where you can go meet him at. Hey, check out my man Eugene Williams. He ain't Batman like Morgan Freeman, but he's that man. What's up, my people? This your boy CJ Moneyway. Hey, be on the lookout for that Steel Town Records coming back, the rebirth of GI. They coming back with a record label, looking for independent artists, looking for producers, looking for artists. They coming back full. Hey, check out the merchandise. Got some hot merchandise. Got some polos with Michael Jackson on the front. Check it out at my links on the podcast show. Check out my Facebook page out. Check out the Steel Town website. Hey, grab you some merchandise, man. Support the city of GI. We coming back. Peace.